Okay, so one of the things that we've got to talk about, and it's not, well, I mean, it is a topic. I don't think it'll be a popular topic, but it's the Biden administration and what's happening with, of course, the migrants that are coming into this country. Now, we don't know how many are actually coming into this country. We know it's definitely over 10 million because there have been like 11 interactions, but we know that for the amount of interactions that have occurred, basically, those are just the ones where the people who are the sort of police officers of the border have actually interacted with individuals. We know that's much more than that. We know it's probably more than double that. It's not triple more than that, but probably double more than that. So as a result of that, the Biden administration has put off really any strong negative effects of the mass immigration policy that have, potentially come up against this election system. So, for example, he changed in the very beginning of 2024 some of the policies for immigration. Then in June, even more policy changes for basically immigration because there were so many people coming over, they ran out of places to put them. And as a result of that, the mass placement of these immigrants on Medicaid is a push to get these immigrants basically out there and working but healthy. Because remember, a lot of these immigrants are coming from countries, South America, Haiti, parts of the Middle East, potentially Africa, stuff like that, where, basically traditional first world medicine just doesn't exist in that form. So as a result, a lot of these individuals that are coming to this country are seeking to get the best medical treatment they can. And the federal government is giving them supplemental security income by and through Medicaid and, basically their, $943 check, which is, of course, really nice. Now, they're getting a lot of other benefits as well, which is causing a lot of people, especially veterans, to be super ultra pissed. Will this affect supplemental security income people in the future where they won't be able to go ahead and get basically a scheduled appointment with their doctor? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. And then the next question you should be asking yourself is, okay, will SSI people likely vote in a different way in the future? Obviously this isn't going to happen right before the election, but this is something that down the next 6 months, a lot of SSI people who are seeking to use their Medicaid are going to get really pissed about, because if they live in particularly, liberal areas, right? If they live in areas with cities that are very safe, very accommodating to, all these immigrants that are coming in, will those SSI people in the future change their voting style, or will they remain consistently, as they have been, Democrat-based? Because, remember, the more impoverished you are, the less the education, the more you're likely to vote Democrat. And so what I think is interesting about this is that the effects of having new immigrants come into this country, which is partly vote farming, but partly also to get more work product out of humans. Because remember, they want more people to come into this country because the only way out of debt is through work product, because this country goes into debt by borrowing against the work product that, the working class creates. So you bring in a bunch of immigrants and you say, okay, here's your chance. Go make some money, go to work, get there, get out there, get that, go pay some taxes. The country's really saying, hey, we're broke. We need all of you, the millions and millions and millions and millions of new people in this country, to go and make money so that you can pay off the United States debt. Now, let's get into this article. This is by Elizabeth McDonald, Fox Business. Obviously, it's going to be a Fox article because it's talking about a negative aspect of Biden's mass immigration, even though, to be fair, I was hoping to see more MSNBC, CNN, stuff like that, actually covering details about this migration, but in a more fair light to the American people, but they haven't. So I've had to actually switch over to having more Fox News articles and then kind of explaining the reality of what's going on. But let's go into this real quick. Millions of illegal aliens have been given an on-ramp to Medicaid due to actions by the Biden-Harris administration. A new study by the Foundation for Government Accountability says it warns the move will swamp U.S. hospitals and cost taxpayers potentially tens of billions of dollars more annually, on top of the estimated of $150 billion yearly in higher taxes. The border crisis intensified by the Biden administration, which it is now straining both Medicaid and U.S. hospitals to the breaking point, experts warn. And the simple point of this article is that basically, if you have a bunch of new people coming to this country who are going to be seeking some form of medical treatment, and they're going to be using that Medicaid, then those Medicaid accepting doctors, those Medicaid accepting hospitals are going to be swamped because you've just massively increased the amount of people who are going to be using Medicaid. And it's happening because of loopholes, in addition to U.S. states already expanding Medicaid coverage, plus the Biden-Harris White House weakening Medicaid and Social Security verification systems. And so one of the big things that came out is that when it comes to immigration, they were having lots and lots of these new immigrants putting down the same house as the house that they were supposed to move to, get through some of the basic hoops and requirements that they, a person coming to this country would actually need to go ahead and come into illegally. So basically being like, okay, well, where are you going? Who are you going to stay with? And then people would just put down thousands and thousands and thousands of times over and over the same place, because it was basically set up so that people could just mass immigrate and become, going from illegal immigration into proper legal immigration so that they could go through that process. It is a loophole. There have been a lot of loopholes when it comes to immigration. This is a result of basically the federal government specifically having the main power over immigration, right? Because when it comes to the United States interacting with other countries, states don't really have that much power, but the federal government has the majority of the power. If they want to go ahead and manipulate it, they'll go ahead and do it. Now, a study of just 9 states, including Arizona, Kentucky, Missouri, Texas, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, that responded to the foundation, revealed that between 2019 and 2023, the number of illegal aliens on state Medicaid in those states soared by 500%. So just keep in mind, 500%, that's a huge increase. And when you imagine a doctor's schedule and how difficult it is for you to go ahead and get in to see a doctor, it takes you potentially 3 to 6 months for every visit. Now that'll probably be more like, nobody knows what the numbers will be, but, you just increase that by potentially 5 times. So you're looking at, okay, you'll only be able to see a Medicaid doctor once, maybe every year and a half, maybe every year, something like that. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what's going to happen. It's how it's going to be. The study says then the 5 states that provided financial information, it cost taxpayers nearly 550% more to cover illegal aliens. And obviously, when people say it's free health insurance, it's taxpayer paid health insurance. The reality is that there's nothing government free. The government never provides anything free. It's always the taxpayer pays the brunt and cost of anything that's actually done. So all supplemental security income beneficiaries are the highest level of socialism that we have in this country, whether they're immigrants, disabled, or people over 65 that are impoverished. They enjoy the benefit of essentially, the American people, the working class, subsidizing their existence, their life, their daily activities when it comes to at least them having money to be able to survive. Should SSI be more for the disabled? Absolutely. Absolutely. Should it be more for the immigrants? I don't know. Should it be more for the people over 65 who are impoverished? Yeah, I think so. But the bottom line is, SSI at $943. It's just, I don't know how our disabled are ever. And that's the thing too. Like the disabled are always stuck in these super impoverished areas where there's high crime, and it's just not a great system in that regard because it's such a small financial amount. The U.S. hospital system has struggled to handle the massive red tape of verifying whether patients are legal citizens due to a new loophole under the Biden and Harris administration. As such, burdened hospitals often can't follow up, creating a new iteration of catch and release in the United States hospital system. First, U.S. states usually check a patient's citizenship status through federal sources such as Social Security. The loophole is that, because they'll ask us what is their Social Security number. The loophole is that if the government data doesn't match, states give patients a 90-day grace period to get documentation to verify eligibility and obtain Medicaid coverage for health care. Health and Human Services have blocked states from restricting any extension of those grace periods, so long as an illegal alien makes a good faith effort to prove citizenship. Now, states are regularly extending the grace periods beyond 90 days. And in another move, worsening the problem, the Biden administration in 2021 forced Social Security to stop issuing no-match letters to U.S. businesses, which were red flag notices that their workers were not legal citizens because they don't come up in the Social Security system via matches with IRS W-2 wage reporting forms. So put another way is that these groups, these hospitals aren't going to be able to check essentially the social security status of an illegal immigrant or illegal immigrant or whatever the hell you want to call the immigrants, because we just don't know, like as a business, whether somebody is, this or that, or what their naturalization status is. And another thing that really, is interesting is that, as you've studied and seen some of my videos before, the Biden-Harris administration has limited the release since basically November of 2021, how many immigrants are actually on SSI benefits per year as part of the release notice, which is obviously a manipulation tactic. And, it's vote farming at its best, but it's smart. The Democrats are smart about it because they know that they're going to they've brought in more illegal immigrants to become legal immigrants, right? Illegal transfer from one country to another and then receiving some sort of legal allowable, stay. They've brought in through their policy more people than there are already on supplemental security income plus Social Security disability insurance combined. Like, just imagine that all the people receiving a disability oriented check and all the people that were already immigrants that were here on SSI and all the people that were over 65 and impoverished, they brought in more people than all of those Americans and all those current already here immigrants before Biden-Harris combined. And that's a huge number. And it's a really surprising thing. But here we go. Here, let's read into it a little bit more. The Kaiser Family Foundation reports that as of 2022, there are roughly 21.2 million non-citizen immigrants in the U.S., and that was 2022. About 7% of the total population, roughly 6 in 10 non-citizen immigrants, are lawfully present, while the remaining 4 are undocumented illegal aliens and not qualified immigrants, are eligible for emergency Medicaid so long as they meet eligibility requirements for their state's Medicaid program. However, illegal aliens are not eligible to enroll in federally funded health coverage, including full Medicaid, CHIP, or Medicare, or to purchase coverage through the Obamacare system. Some states like California and New York are already expanding Medicaid coverage to illegal aliens. Illegal aliens age 65 and older who meet income and other eligibility requirements can now enroll in Medicaid in New York. California and Oregon already fund full Medicaid benefits for illegal immigrants. California's state Medicaid coverage of illegal aliens costs California taxpayers about $4 billion annually, the foundation says. Now, the thing I'd like to promote to you is, what do you do? The president has kind of made a mess of immigration. Nobody disagrees with that. So what do you do with all these people that are here now? You can't just completely shut them off from getting medical help, right? They're here. They were allowed to basically cross the border, en masse. So what do you do with them? So the reality is, if you don't get them treated, you're going to see a significant influx of disease, significant influx of transferable medical conditions to other individuals. You're going to be seeing, unfortunately, things of third world individuals and what they fight and deal with becoming rampant in basically parts of America. So you kind of, once they're here, have to give them Medicaid, because otherwise, if you don't, you're just going to get all the other Americans sick. And that's a terrible thing. So it's an interesting way of doing politics, because it's a lazy application of laws that allows mass immigration. And then once they're all here, it's like, well, now we have to fix this problem, which is, what do we do with all these people? And the idea is to get them healthy and get them working. But if you have to do these things, it just costs the American taxpayer billions and billions and billions more, which, of course, SSI people aren't worried about because they don't pay taxes anyway. SSDI people aren't really worried about because they're not paying taxes. But the working class that can't afford their student loans, we're just crushing them. They're like a pill under a glass, and we're just crushing them. And it's sad. It's not good. Florida's Medicaid spending on emergency health care to illegal migrants dropped dramatically by 54% year over year as of June, after Republican Governor Ron DeSantis directed hospitals that accept Medicaid to ask patients about their immigration status. Nationwide, taxpayers, here's a quote, could soon be paying tens of billions of dollars on health care for people who have no right to our safety net, including those who have no right to be in this country, says Hayden Dubois, analytics director of at the Foundation for Government Accountability. Quote, all of healthcare will suffer too. He said, Medicaid pays much less than private insurance, so burdening hospitals with illegal aliens will lead to mounting red ink. Some hospitals have already closed, especially in states that expanded Medicaid under Obamacare, and covering illegal aliens will likely cause more to follow suit. So what's interesting about this as a situation is that the chess moves are brilliant on behalf of the Democratic Party because it absolutely requires action to be taken. And these individuals, right, these people that are now in this country that are living in a tent in some apartment somewhere, who have some family member or have just taken over an empty house. These individuals now have to have some form of treatment, some form of therapy to keep them safe and healthy to a degree to exist. But what will happen with this is that basically somebody who is on SSI benefits or somebody who's on some sort of welfare, I think what will happen is these individuals that are traditionally used to getting a medical appointment every 3 to 6 months will be seeing their medical, appointments set up to like a year and a couple months to a year and a half. So like you won't be able to get like, most updated upkeep medical appointments. It'll take you like a year and a half-ish to go ahead and get the next one. Now, is this the medical system we want? Well, no, we expect the best for America, and we expect the best for our impoverished. But you guys know, if you increase the amount of impoverished that we have, right, which is, of course, all these new migrants, if you increase that amount, then what happens is the quality, the standard of medicine significantly decreases for the poor. But do I think it'll change how the poor actually vote? No. I think the poor will continue to vote Democrat. That's how they always vote. It's just the way it is because, to be fair, these individuals are not in the real world of work. Whether it's, and some of them have been. You can't discredit it. Some of them were doing tree jobs under the table. Some of them were doing, oil gigs under the table. And then they just got older and it happened, yada, yada. But a large percentage of them have never really worked enough under our system, or they've never worked at all. And those individuals, low education, low work experience, not used to having to climb the ladder, if you will, the rungs of the ladder of capitalism, not having to go through that bullshit experience. Those individuals who have never been through that, where it's like they're earning their money and they're killing themselves to earn the money and they're just pushing and pushing and pushing to make it, and then having to give away a bunch of it. If they haven't gone through that, then the ideology of, Democrats taxing more and giving more away to the people who need the most is very, very enticing. It's very, very yummy as an idea. So do I think that they'll change their voting, even though it'll take them a year and a half to go see a doctor? No, I think that they'll continue to vote Democrat. But, keeping in mind all of this, the standard of treatment, the standard of medical, of actually getting cured of things or having a better system, you'll see a lot of SSI disabled people feeling like they just have no hope when it comes to medical treatment with Medicaid. And the worst part is that they'll first go to family members to try and say, hey, can you give me some money so I can go to this doctor that's, pay to play? And then what will happen is the family members of that SSI person won't be able to help them out like they used to back in the day. Remember when like charity starts with home, you go to your friends, you go to your family members, say, hey, can I get $200? Can I get $500? Something like that. And, back in the day, the family member would be like, yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll help you out because, we would give charity to each other. Well, now one of the things that's heavily affected religions as well is that people just don't have money to lend. You know what I mean? Like banks can't lend money right now because of the interest rates, and your friends and family can't lend money right now. In fact, people don't ask their friends and family for money anymore because culturally things have just changed. So anyways, I hope you guys just consider these things. I know that this video goes into some policy and politics as well, but it is important to understand what happens when you add that many millions of new people to the poverty system and there's just not enough doctors. Final thought, and then we're going to pop over to the next video in about 10 minutes. Here's the thing. How do you convince highly intelligent human beings, right, to become a doctor for the poor, go through med school, all that stuff, have student loans, all that stuff, and then putting it very simply, basically living in an impoverished state as far as the doctor level of earnings go? How do you convince somebody to do that? Well, you can't, which is why so many people aren't becoming doctors anymore, which is why basically there's not enough poverty medical treatment doctors available. What is that going to do to this as well? All right, we're going to check out with the next video and kind of catch up from there. I'll put it in the chat section where the link is. You guys have an amazing Sunday. I know it's early, way earlier than what we normally do. I was going to go live last night, but I was so tired from the physical labor I did. It just wore me out. Please remember to like and subscribe, and basically go ahead and become a member if you want. Also, if you did enjoy this video and the video kind of taught you about a new thing to think about, please consider leaving a review on Google. Go to Disability Resolution Law Firm or Disability Resolution Florida. Throw up some stars on there. We always love seeing those. Finally, with that said, if you disagree with the video politically, that's totally fine. I'm good with that. And the idea is just to open your brain to other things that are going on out there. I know I tend to get heavily attacked mostly by people who are on the extreme left. The extreme right, I sometimes get attacked where they're saying, God's going to come after me, yada, yada. And that's fine. I get it. It is what it is. But remember, politically, if you disagree with this video, just kind of look at the statistics and then look at some other statistics and make your own, ideas when it comes to this situation. I will catch you at the next video in about 10 minutes, and we'll go from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I'll see you soon. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.